So I am guilty of saying I would never, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, or whether you've said it yourself or whether you've heard others say things like, man, I would never, dot, 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 and it's not until you're in that situation that you realize, man, I am a weak person. I am capable of doing any and everything without God in my life, without the hand of God in my life. I am just as wicked as the next person. And so I thought about that earlier today of how throughout my life I've said things like, man, I would never, lie on taxes, or I would never, speak ill of another brother or sister, or I would never do this, I would never do that. And then I find myself in these situations where I was doing what I said I would never do. And I'm sure many of you can testify of saying something that you would never do because you think you know yourself, you think you know your heart until you're in that situation, and now what you were saying you would never do, now you're doing. And it really just goes to show that we don't know ourselves as well as we think that we know ourselves. I mean, who can know you better than you? Who can know the kind of things that you're capable of better than you? And it fulfills, or it confirms what Jeremiah said in Jeremiah 17, that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, for who can know it? You think you know yourself. You can think that you know yourself. You can think that you trust yourself because it's you. I'm me. I know me. I've been with me for X amount of years. I sleep with me. I wash me. I groom me. I go with me everywhere. And so I know what I'm capable of. I know what I will and will not do. And then it's not until you're in that situation that you begin to see what's really in your heart. And so I was looking at Mark 14 this morning, and Jesus is getting ready to be crucified. He's getting ready to be betrayed by Judas, and he tells his disciples, he says, listen, all of you this night are going to be offended of me. And here's Peter. Peter is like sold out for Jesus. He's zealous for Jesus. It's even to a point where he's like, Lord, I will die with you. And Jesus told Peter, like, you don't even know yourself. I'm going to tell you this, that before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter tells Jesus, like, I would never. Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? Like, no, I will die for you. Let's look at that real fast. So this is Mark 14. See where I'm going to start. Let me see. Okay, so I'll start at verse 29. But Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended. Now this is after Jesus tells his disciples, you all are going to be offended of me. Why? Because they're going to come and they're going to take me, and they might take you as well. If they know that you're with me, they might take you as well. And so you all are going to run off because it's in your heart to do. We're only going to do what's in our hearts to do. So Peter said unto him, although all shall be offended, yet will not I. So Peter is saying, like, they may be offended, they may run off, they may deny you, but me, no, Jesus, I am here until the end. I'm going to stick by your side. I am a ride or die kind of person. And Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto you, talking to Peter, this day, even in this night, Jesus is telling Peter, like, you don't even know that in just a few minutes, you're about to do something that you're going to regret. You don't even know. Before the cock crows twice, you are going to deny me 3 times. But he spoke the more vehemently, if I shall die with you, I will not deny you in any wise. Likewise also said they all. And so Peter is like, wait a minute, like, you don't know, like, if I have to die with you, then I know I'm not going to deny it. I know that I'm not going to deny you, because if I have to die with you, then I'm going to die with you, and that's what it's going to be. And so Peter did not know what he was saying in that moment. And that's the dangers of us saying things like, I would never, because we don't know what's in our hearts. You don't really know what's on the inside of you until you're put in a situation or a circumstance, and then that thing comes out. Like Peter in this moment, I'm really sure that he was very serious about what he was saying, and I'm sure that deep down inside, he meant what he said. Like, no, I'm willing to die for you this night. I would never deny you. And so it shows that we don't know what's on the inside of us. It doesn't matter how strong we think we are, how bold we think we are, how smart we think we are, how mighty we think we are. We have to stay humble. We have to stay humble, and we have to acknowledge that we really need God in all things. You know, it made me think about the guy, the centurion that had a child at home about to die. And he told, no, not him, not the centurion. I'm thinking about someone else. That's how much I've been reading the Word of God. Not him, but the other guy that had a child home sick. And he didn't have a child home sick. He had a sick child, and he asked the Lord to help his unbelief. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. If you read your Bible, then you know the story I'm talking about. He asked the Lord to help his unbelief. Instead of him thinking that he knows himself, he said, you know what, Lord, help my unbelief. Even the Samaritan lady who Jesus called a dog, she said, yes, Lord, even the dogs eat of the crumbs. Like, that was a humbling moment for her. And so Peter, I say all that to say, Peter could have been like, you know what, Lord, I don't know what I'm capable of, but I ask that you help me and that you give me the grace to not deny you. Okay, Jesus, the Son of God, is saying that you're going to deny him. He knows everything. He knows the thoughts of man. He knows the heart of man. And so he's telling Peter, this is what you're going to do. And instead of Peter saying, you know what, will help me, Peter was like, no, I would never. And I just love how humble and how meek the Lord is, because he doesn't even go back and forth with Peter. And Jesus is like that with us. Sometimes we say things like, Lord, I would never. Lord, I'll give it all up for you. Lord, I'll go all the way for you. Lord, I'll go here for you. Lord, I'll do this for you. And the Lord is like, you don't even know what's in your heart. And the beauty in it is that the Lord doesn't go back and forth with us. He's so merciful that he lets us go through things to see what's in our own hearts. And so the same thing with Peter. Jesus didn't go back and forth with Peter and argue with Peter and say, Peter, no, you're going to deny me. Okay, Peter, I'm letting you know you're going to deny me. No, he said, okay, you know, that's what you want to believe. Then that's what you're going to believe. And then not too far after this scene right here, Peter denies Jesus. And as he's denying Jesus, the Word of God says immediately he thinks back on what Jesus told him. Yeah, tonight before the rooster crow, you're going to deny me 3 times. And that's exactly what he did. And so Jesus does not go back and forth with us concerning the things in our hearts. What he does is he allows us to go through things to see what's in our hearts so that we know what we're made of. And as he's exposing and as he's revealing the things that are in our hearts, it's our responsibility to address those things in his presence. Man, Lord, I just denied you. You know, Peter didn't go and hang himself like Judas did, but it says that Peter, let me see if I can go to it. Peter, he wept bitterly, like he felt really, really bad. Yes. Verse 72. And the second time the cock crowed, and Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said unto him. So he's remembering what Jesus said to him not too long before this. It says, before the cock crowed twice, you shall deny me 3 times. And when he thought thereon, he wept. He wept. Now, Peter did not have a worldly sorrow in his weeping and, you know, in his heart feeling convicted, but he had a godly sorrow. And what that means is Peter felt really, really bad about what he did, that he repented. He repented. He didn't go and kill himself like Judas did. He didn't go and say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm not called for this. You know, I knew this wouldn't work. No, he went and he went before the Lord and he poured out his heart like, Lord, you were right. I denied you. I denied you. And later on we see that the Lord did restore Peter. And just as Jesus restored Peter, God can restore us. When you and I, when we fall, when we think that we're not capable of doing certain things, and then we fall and we do those things, do know that God is able to restore. God is able to renew. God is able to make whole. God is able to strengthen you just as Peter. But we have to not think that we know ourselves to a point where we don't mind putting ourselves in vulnerable situations, thinking that we got ourselves and that we're stronger than, you know, we're stronger than we think we are. We're stronger than we think we are. You know, we have to not be naive and thinking that, oh no, I won't fall in this area because I'm strong. Or, you know, I would never do this because I'm strong. Or I would never do that because I'm strong. I know myself. I know my heart. I hear people say that all the time. And I used to be one who said things like that. Like, no, I know my heart, especially at the beginning of my walk, where the Lord was purging me of things and removing things, and trying to give me grace to cut off certain people. I remember putting myself in situations, telling myself, no, I would never, I would never fall. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm serious about my walk right now. And so I know that I won't fall into this temptation until I put myself in that situation, or I allow myself to be open to that, because the Word of God says that He always makes a way of escape. And so the Lord was making a way of escape, but because I told myself, oh no, I know my heart, I know myself, I would never, then I was vulnerable and I fell into temptation. And then when it was time to reflect on, well, what just happened, it was kind of like one of those, like, man, I thought I would never. I thought I was strong, or I thought I was stronger than that, And then there's the condemnation, and there's the guilt. And we're going to do one or two things in those moments. Either we're going to go to God and ask the Lord to have mercy upon us and to strengthen us and to restore us, or we're going to withdraw from the Lord and we're going to let self-condemnation eat us. We're going to let the devil make us feel like this is too hard and that it's not possible to be a Christian, and it's not easy to go forward. And so we have to know how much we need God every single day. Even today, as I'm preaching to you, I need God every moment. And I cannot think within myself that I'm stronger or that I'm strong outside of God. I cannot think that I'm strong outside of God and that I would never do, etc. I have to ask the Lord every single day, like, Lord, I need you to give me grace. Give me grace to be holy today. Give me grace to be righteous today. Give me grace to stay in your will, because I don't know what I'm capable of. Jeremiah says that the heart is deceitful. Your heart, what that means, your heart will deceive you. Your heart will deceive you. I do want to go there. I do want to go to Jeremiah 17. Your heart will deceive you. What you think that you're not capable of doing or would never do, your heart will deceive you. How many times have you heard to follow your heart, and you do it? You follow your heart. Wherever your heart leads you, you go, and your heart fails you. And then you find yourself back at a dark place or a cold place, or back at square one. And then it's kind of like, well, what happened? Well, you followed your heart. You trusted in your heart, and the heart it's deceptive. Your heart will deceive you. You'll begin to think that it's one thing, but really it's another thing. That's what that means when it says the heart is deceitful. Your heart will deceive you into thinking that these emotions are real, or that these emotions are really what it is, but really it's not. Really it's not. It's kind of like you have to not live by what you see and what you feel, because everything that you see and everything that you feel is not always what it is. This is why it's very dangerous to follow your heart. This is why it's very dangerous to trust your heart. And you may say, well, I can't trust anyone else, and so I have to trust myself. But yeah, even you will fail you. How many times have you done it? How many times, if you can look back over the course of your life, that you have said, I would never, I know my heart, I know me, and you failed yourself? Or that you follow your heart and that you trust your heart and you failed yourself? How many times? How many times can you count? And as you look back and think back, man, I have said things like I would never. I have said things like I trust my heart and I follow my heart. But then I felt myself. Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Your heart can make you feel one thing and believe one thing, but really it be something completely different. That's the deception of the heart. You're taking on these emotions. You're going through a situation and you're taking on these emotions when really the situation is not even all of that. It's just your emotions are caught up. Your emotions are in the way of what's really going on. And this is why you can have what they call lust versus love. When you can find yourself attracted to someone and the world is telling you to follow your heart, and so that's what you're doing, and you don't realize that what you're really feeling isn't love, but it's lust. That's a part of the deception of the heart. You think that you're feeling love. You think that you're attracted to this person in a intimate way, but really it's lust. You're attracted to the wrong kinds of things, and your heart will deceive you in that way. So Jeremiah 17 verse 9 says, The heart is deceitful above all things. It says above all things. So more than anything, your heart is deceptive above all things. Apart from the enemy, your heart is like number one. It will deceive you. I'm telling you, the heart is a very interesting muscle. It's a very interesting muscle. That's the same muscle that pumps blood in and throughout your whole body. The heart. The heart is where your emotions and everything stems from. You know, although it comes from your soul, but it goes to your heart. That's where you begin to feel things. That's where you begin to feel different types of emotions like sadness and anger and frustration and happiness and fear. You know, it stems from your heart. And the Word of God says that we have to guard our hearts with all diligence, because out of it are the issues of life. If I am not guarding my heart with the Word of God and the love of God, then issues are going to flow out. And those issues that flow out, they're going to affect me. They're going to affect me, and they may even deceive me. They may even knock me off course. They may even begin to get me to believe something that's not even real, something that's not even true. Your heart will do that. I can't even tell you how many times where I forget the different situations, but just to give a general example of what I'm trying to say, of how there were times where I thought this situation was this, or this person, you know, was doing this or said this, or, you know, I make these types of assumptions just to realize the whole time that the situation wasn't nothing of what I thought, or the person wasn't even thinking about me, or, you know, wasn't even looking my way, or even thinking of my name, but my heart deceived me into thinking that, no, this is the situation. Oh no, that person's talking about me. All of these false assumptions. And I'm telling you, like, that's the dangers of what comes out of our hearts when we are not guarding it with the right things. If I'm not guarding my heart, then all kind of things are going to come through and out of it. It made me think about a gate. The gates of your heart, you have to guard it. You have to stand guard and make sure that you are intaking the right kinds of things, because if you're not, then that's going to affect you. If I am not taking in godly things, if I am not allowing the love of God to flow into my heart and to wash and to cleanse me, then I'm going to take in other things, and a lot of what comes in is going to be false. It's going to be deceptive. It's going to deceive me into thinking that this is how life is supposed to work, or that this is life, when really I'm going to be blinded to what's really going on around me. And so he says, and desperately wicked. Your heart is wicked. This is why you don't know what's in it. This is why you can't trust your heart. This is why we can say things like, I would never, and be convinced that we would never, until we find ourselves in that situation. Your heart is wicked. This is why we need God. You don't know. You know, it's easy to look at the criminals on the news and to point fingers and say, man, that person is bad. Man, that person is a rapist. Man, that person is a pedophile. That person is a murderer or a thief or a liar or etc. That person is this. But you don't even know what's in your heart. You don't even know what you're capable of. You don't know what spirit you are of. And it's only by the grace of God that he's not allowed you to be in a situation where you're taking someone else's life. It's only by the grace of God that he's not allowed you to be in a situation where you're raping someone, or, you know, you're touching a child inappropriately, or you're lying and you got caught by the government, or, you know, you're a thief. It's only by the grace of God that that's not your story, because it's in you to do. It's in you to do. It was in Cain to murder his brother Abel. He probably didn't realize that at the beginning, you know, when it was time to present their sacrifice and their offering. But guess what? That came out. And so what's in you is going to eventually come out. You know, you can have a good talk game. We can be like Peter sometimes, you know, because it's easy to look at Peter and be like, man, that's messed up. You denied Jesus 3 times, man. That's, you know, that's messed up. But how many times are we denying Jesus Christ throughout the day, you know, on basic levels when it comes to just simply obeying? You know, the Lord tells you to do this and you don't do it. That's denying Jesus. And so it's easy to look at other individuals and point a finger and not realize that, hey, you're capable of doing the same thing. It's in you to do. Your heart is wicked. You don't know what spirit you are of until it's tried, until the rings of your heart is tried. You don't know what spirit you are of. You don't know what you're capable of doing. I'm telling you, there are things that I've done throughout my life that I did not know and did not believe I was capable of even doing. Like, wait a minute, I just did that. Like, I would have never thought I would do that. Like, me? Like, I just did that. And I told myself I would never, I would never be like my mom. I would never be like my dad. I would never be like this person. I would never be like that person. How many times have we said things like that? Some of you, you've said things like that. Like, I would never be like my mom. I would never do the things that my mom did. I would never say the things that my mom said. I would never go the places my mom went, or your father, or your grandma, or your aunt, or your uncle, whoever it is. And you found yourself repeating those same cycles, those same patterns, doing the same thing, saying the same thing, making the same decisions and the same choices. You don't realize what your heart is capable of doing. This is why we need Jesus Christ. Like, no, I need God every single day, because I don't know what I'm capable of doing. My heart is wicked, and I have to accept that for what it is. And it's only God that makes my heart clean and pure, because only the pure in heart are going to see God. And so I need God to make my heart pure. I need God to make my heart clean. Only He can clean it and make it right, because He's good. There's only one good, but God, He's good. And because He's good, He can make me good. I need Him to make me good, because I'm wicked outside of God. When I can acknowledge that I'm wicked, when I can acknowledge that my heart is deceitful above all things, then I can be more open to what God wants to do with my heart and in my heart. He wants to do great things in my heart. He wants to give me a clean heart, a heart without spots and without blemish, a heart that does not despise people, a heart that does not hate people, a heart that does not want to see evil in the world and want to see people go through things. And, you just desire evil. There's people like that. They desire evil. Like, they like evil. They crave evil. Like your heart craves it. It's wicked. You like seeing evil things. You like, watching evil movies and crazy movies. You like things like that. You get a thrill. You get a drive from evil things, because your heart is so evil. Our hearts are evil. You get a drilling rush, as they said, because you like evil things. And the Lord is like, I want to make your heart clean. Yes, I know you said you would never be like your mom, but you end up repeating the same cycles and the same patterns. And this is why you need me, so that I can break those curses off of your life, off of your heart. I can give you clean hands and a pure heart, and that's what we need. That's what we need. We need a pure heart, a heart that does not despise wicked things. Like, oh no, I like seeing murderous movies. I like watching the news, and I like hearing about the mass shootings and stuff like that. God does not want us to have a heart that, I don't even know if I said it correct. I said despise, but we should despise evil. But God does not want us to have a heart that desires evil. That's what I mean to say. He does not want us to have a heart that desires wickedness and to lie. You enjoy lying. You enjoy fights and people fighting on TV. You enjoy aggression. You enjoy anger. You enjoy lust. You enjoy perversion. The Lord does not want us to desire those things. He does want us to despise them. We need to despise evil. This is why it's important to guard ourselves. You know what that means, to guard? That means to stand and protect. You have to make sure that no evil is coming in, because if evil is coming in, then evil is going to flow out. You got to guard the gates of your heart. You have to stand and guard and make sure that you are intaking the right kinds of things. That's important, because out of the abundance of the heart, you're going to speak, you're going to communicate, you're going to do what's in you to do. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are. It doesn't matter how well you think you know yourself. You're going to do what's in your heart to do. And that is based on what you are open to. If you are a kind of person, you're open to every and anything because you want to live free, you want to live on the edge, you want to follow your heart, then it's going to show what kind of person you are. Yeah, you are a vulnerable person. You don't know what spirit you are of, and you don't know what you're capable of doing. You just need to be put in the right situation for that thing to come out. You need to be put in the right situation for that to come out. And may the Lord be merciful to you. May he be merciful to you. May he position you to see what's in your heart so that you can acknowledge just how much more you need him. That's what most of us need. If not most, all of us, we need to know how much we need God, because apart from God, we are so evil and we are so wicked. We may not say it like that. We may not want to say that. We may not even acknowledge that. But the truth of the matter is, listen, people, outside of God, we are wicked. Our hearts are wicked. We do wicked things. And even if we're not acting out on everything that stems from our hearts, we have evil thoughts. That's how you know you're wicked. That's how you know that your heart is deceitful above all things, and that what Jeremiah is saying in chapter 17 is true, because it's in your mind. You have evil thoughts. You have evil thoughts. You have thoughts of a tree falling on someone. You have thoughts of just walking up into the pawn shop, getting a gun, and going on a mass shooting yourself. You have thoughts of aborting babies. You have thoughts of fighting. You have thoughts of evil. Man, it'd be cool to see a car accident right now. And I can say this because I've been there, and I'm still overcoming the thoughts in my mind. I have to cast down every vain imagination. I have to do that. You have to do that, because it's in you to be evil. It's in you to do evil things. You don't believe that? Let the Lord put you in the right situation so that you can see what's on the inside of you. I'm telling you, I learned a lot about myself. The Lord having to put me in situations to see what was on the inside of me. Like, oh, that's there, Jesus. I don't like that. You have to get rid of that, Lord. You have to cleanse me and purge me of that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be a wicked person. I don't want to be a murderer before the eyes of the Lord. My pastor said something so interesting the other day on his live of, you may not look at yourself as a murderer. You may not look at yourself as an idolater. You may not look at yourself as a fornicator, but how does God see you? How does God see you? What does God think about you? Because you could think well of yourself all day. Men can think well of you all day, but how does God see you? Because you may not look at yourself as a fornicator or an idolater or a murderer, but how does God see you? When God sees me, I don't want God to see me as a murderer before his eyes, or as a fornicator, or as a perverted person. No. When God sees me, I want him to look down upon me and be glad that he's made me a son. I need God to look down upon me and say, I am glad that I called her. Look at her. She's striving. She's pressing. She's calling on my name. She's seeking me. She's asking. She's knocking. Look at her. She acknowledges that her heart is wicked and it is deceitful above all things. She acknowledges that. I need God to see me as a son and not as a bastard. I need God to see me as his, one that he owns and not rents. He's not just borrowing or using me for a time or a season. No, I want to belong to him. I want him to look down upon me and see me and be pleased. Be pleased. We need God to be pleased. You should want God to be pleased. You should not want God to look down and see you as a criminal, because what he sees you as is what he's going to judge you as. That's how he's going to judge you. If he sees you as this, if he sees you as such, then that's how he's going to judge you. No, Father, I need you to judge me as a son. Make my heart clean because it's wicked. Lord, I don't know what I'm capable of. I don't know. We don't know. And this is why I need the Lord to lead and guide me. I need him to order my steps. You need God to order your steps because you think you know you. You think you know you until you go into that party. You think you know you until you get into that car. You think you know you until you respond to that text message or you answer that phone. You think you know you until you go to the grocery store. You think you know you until you're put in a situation and you begin to act out, and now it's too late. Oh, that just came out of me. I did not know I still struggled with that. Sometimes the Lord has to reveal, areas where I'm still struggling. Like, oh, Lord, I did not know I still struggle with sarcasm. Yeah, that's in your heart. That's a thing. Sarcasm, that's a thing. You still struggle with lust. You still struggle with anger. You still struggle with insecurities. You still struggle with bitterness. He will show you what's in your heart. He will reveal to you what is in your heart. You just got to be one that's open. You can't be prideful. You have to be one who's open and who's humble and in position to see whatever it is that he's trying to pinpoint and trying to highlight. Oh no, Lord, I want to be open and available because whatever it is that's on the inside that you see and you do not like, I need it to be removed. It needs to come up to the surface because I need it to be done away with, because I need a clean heart. I need a pure heart before you, because only those whose hearts are pure are going to see you. Only the pure in heart are going to see God. And so if my heart is not pure before God, not according to me, If my heart is not pure before God, then I can't expect to spend forever with God. Because no defilement, no unclean thing, no whoremonger, no anything, no liar, no fornicator, anything of that sort, anything that is unclean is going to spend forever with God. Make no mistake about it. And so our hearts must be clean. I don't know my heart. You don't know your heart. I don't know myself as well as I think I do. You don't know yourself as well as you think that you do. And you have to see it for what it is. You may say, no, I know me. Okay. I have to be like Jesus on that one and let you believe what you believe. Jesus had to do that with Peter. Okay. You know, we're not going to go back and forth. We're not going to debate. We're not going to argue. We're going to let time tell. We're going to let things play out. And that's going to determine how well you know you. That's going to determine what's really on the inside, because it's going to come out. And so may the Spirit of God give you ears to hear. May he give you a desire to go after his heart, seeking his heart, so that he can give you a heart like his, a heart that is pure, a heart that is clean. In Jesus' name.